Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our wonderful Guru Parampara. Thank you all for being here and welcome to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily call. We're so glad you're here. Dear Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, would you like to continue the series that we have begun, first canto, chapter 11? Today, if you like to continue, it will be verse 24. Okay. I am screen sharing and hope it is coming up on the screen right now. Yes.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Rajamargam Gate Krishne. Dwarkakyaya Ulastriyaha. Harmyam Yaru Tat Ikshana Mahotsavaha. When the Lord passed over the public roads, all the ladies from the respectful family of Dwarka went up to the roofs of their palaces just to have a look at the Lord. They considered this to be the greatest festival. Purport. To have a look at the Lord is a great festive occasion, undoubtedly, as it was considered by the metropolitan ladies of Dwarka. This is still followed by the devout ladies of India, especially during the days of the Julian and Janmashtami ceremonies. The ladies of India still throng up in the greatest number at the temple of the Lord, where his transcendental eternal form is worshipped. The transcendental form of the Lord installed in the temple is not different from the Lord personally. Such a form of the Lord is called Archa Vigraha, or Archa Incarnation, and is expanded by the Lord by his internal potency, just to facilitate the devotional service of his innumerable devotees who are in the material world. Material senses cannot perceive the spiritual nature of the Lord. And therefore, the Lord accepts the Archa Vigraha, which is apparently made of material elements like earth, wood, and stone, but actually there is no material contamination. The Lord being Kaivalya, one alone, there is no matter in him. He is one without a second, and therefore the Almighty Lord can appear in any form without being contaminated by the material conception. Therefore, festivities in the temple of the Lord is held generally like festivals performed during the manifested days of the Lord of Dwarka about 5,000 years ago. The authorized acharyas who know the science perfectly install such temples of the Lord under the regular principles just to offer facilities to the common man. The persons who are less intelligent without being conversant with the science mistake this great attempt to be idol worship and poke their nose into that which they have no access. Therefore, the ladies or men who observe festivals in the temples of the Lord just to have a look at the transcendental form are 1,000 times more glorious than those who are non-believers in the transcendental form of the Lord. It appears from the verse that the inhabitants of Dwarka were all owners of big palaces. This indicates the prosperity of the city. The ladies got up on the roofs just to have a look at the procession of the Lord. The ladies did not mix with the crowd on the street, and thus their respectability was perfectly observed. There was no artificial equality with the man. Female respectability is preserved more elegantly by keeping the women separate from the man. The sexes should not mix unrestrictedly. Magyan Timirandasya Gyanajana Svakya. Chaksun Militam Nina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobi Stam Stapitam Yena Bhutai. Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padantikam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachadine Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Pasyatya De Sutarine Vanchakopa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Kitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Arche Vishnu Stiladi Gurushu Narmati Vaishnave Jati Bhuti. This is the first line and a statement from the Padma Purana, which says, that anyone who sees the deity of the Lord as being stone or wood, idol, made out of material elements and is material, there, and then the verse goes on to explain Neraki. Neraki means hell. Means their consciousness is somewhat polluted by a hellish mentality. So the deity is none different than the Lord. As the holy name is none different than the Lord, so the archivigor manifested that's being worshipped in the temple or even in one's home is considered to be an absolute principle of the Lord's appearance. Less intelligent persons, or even devotees with a clear fund of knowledge, can see the Lord deity as either a stone idol, something that's been created, or they see it as a representation. But it's not a representation. It's used the Lord himself personally to manifest himself in his deity form. The deity becomes eternal once the personification of the deity is installed in regular worship and begins. And so the deity is actually there to accept our worship, because it's explained here in this particular verse, is that in order to facilitate worship, he comes because we cannot see him in his transcendental form as to, unless we have.
Sorry to interrupt you, but would you kindly lower the screen just a little bit, because we are not able to see you fully. You're cut off a little bit. And if you can also move a little closer, because your voice is a bit muffled.
Can't get any closer. And I can't see the verse either, because you've got so many other things there in there. Go up the page, cover the translation, just show the purport. That's it. Higher up. Keep going. More. Okay, right there. Stop. Go back down. Go back down. There you go. Stop there. Stop there. Go up again. Just give the purport, that's all. Okay. Is that better now? Can you hear me?
Yes, Guru. Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. So this is not idol worship, it's known as deity worship. And it's one of the authorized processes given by the Shastras, which is mentioned in a section of the scriptures called the Narada Pancharatri, where there is rules, regulations, restrictions, and processes by which the Lord is worshipped in his deity form. So people who see it otherwise don't see properly. Therefore, one cannot see the Lord even in his deity form. It's like the word darshan. We go, well, I'm going to go take darshan of the deity. Well, what can you see? You can only see what you think you see. You're not seeing the Lord, actually. So darshan, there is two words, drashtya and drishtya. One is one who is seen and one who is being seen. One who is seeing and one who is being seen. The person who is seeing is the Lord, and the one who is being seen is us. Therefore, darshan means to allow the Lord to see you. And therefore, one has to prepare themselves to present themselves in the right mood in front of the deity. So just like when the curtains open or we go before the deity, we do three things. One, we stand there and with folded hands, we gaze at his lotus feet, take our eyes all the way up his body, up to his smiling face, then down again to the lotus feet. And then we offer obeisances. After getting up, we stand there and we pray to the Lord, my dear Lord, I'm so fallen, and you have come in your merciful form as the deity to lift me up out of this contaminated state of existence. Then we say, my dear Lord, you have so many wonderful qualities, and you meditate on the Lord's different qualities as you're seeing him in his deity form. And then you also express that in the form of a prayer. And then you ask the Lord for some service. My dear Lord, how can I serve? Please give me some service. And so there's many examples throughout the history of our society and in the world in general, where deities walk, deities talk, deities eat the food, deities even leave, deities reappear. So anyone who understands, have some understanding of these different experiences, know that the Lord is personally there. And therefore, as Prabhupada said, one should be very careful in one's execution of worship of the deity, knowing that this is Krishna directly. He said there is two things called vigraha and galagraha. Vigraha refers to the form of the Lord in his deity manifestation, and galagraha is the burden around the neck. Like if you take a big weight and you put it around your neck. So for those who don't practice carefully their sadhana, such as chanting and reading the scriptures and hearing from others who speak transcendental knowledge, then the deity worship, if we do deity worship, it becomes a burden. So the real worship of the deity is actually the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that must go along with the deity worship. Sometimes people misunderstand. They say, well, there's 9 ways by which you can offer devotional service, 9 different methods. Therefore, you can choose any one of the 9 because the scriptures say one can become perfect in Krishna consciousness by perfecting one of the 9 processes. And that is correct. But then there is another principle that must be added, that all of the 9 processes, I'm saying all of the 8 processes, must be accompanied by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Without that, one cannot perfect nor properly worship the Lord in any of the other 8 processes. There was an example that I was directly connected with, where in one temple, the temple president wanted to speak to me and explained that he has a very nice pujari, and she comes every day on time, and she dresses the deities, and she's very expert dressing the deities, very clean. She does the deity worship very nice, but she doesn't chant. So he said, I've been trying to get her to chant, but she says there are 9 processes and any one of them is good enough. So I'm sticking just to the deity worship. So then I showed the reference in Srimad Bhagavatam where Prabhupada mentions, it's in the 7th canto, 5th chapter, verses 22 and 23, where he mentions the 9 processes of of worship, and it gives a large explanation of each of the processes. And then he concludes by saying all of the other 8 must be accompanied by the Yuga Dharma, which is given to us by the Lord himself, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So these things go together because our process is Bhagavat Vidhi. Pancharatriki Vidhi is supportive of Bhagavat Vidhi, but it is not, cannot be entered into solely. Prabhupada called it 2 rails on the transcendental track. A train runs on 2 tracks, not 1 track. And therefore both tracks have to be there. One is supportive of the other. When Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, he wanted to open up a temple, so there was a great endeavor. Finally, they made a beautiful temple, and they were going to bring in the installation of the deity. Prabhupada knew that people in Vrindavan, especially the Mahants, and the various leaders of the different temples, along with many of the sadhus, would not consider our movement to be bona fide unless we did a very elaborate worship of the installation of the deity. So Prabhupada commissioned some yagya Brahmins, and it was a very costly and very elaborate, very long, extended process by which we did a yagya to install the deities. But Prabhupada later on said, I could have simply had kirtan, and that would have been sufficient to install the deities, but then they wouldn't have took our movement to be genuine. So that was, and he writes about that in the purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the foundation by which we develop all of our activities in Krishna consciousness. Our reading, our association, our worship, our activities that we perform, all are foundational on the quality of our chanting. Although one may also be good at something and not develop their chanting, that will not be sustainable because one is not following the instructions of the acharyas. And in this case, the acharyas say one must chant prescribed number of rounds every day, along with whatever activities you perform. So Lord Chaitanya has emphasized the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And therefore, we have other services also. So services will develop in relationship to the chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then will have something to offer to Krishna that is worth offering. Here, there's many nice points in this verse, in this purport also, that the opulence of Dwarka, everybody had a palace. Nowadays, people consider themselves to be more advanced than they were than their forefathers. And they say now we're becoming more advanced, but that advancement is not really understood and properly. Our advancement is that somehow or other, we are understanding the need for spiritual life. Not this material advancement where people have nice cars and big houses, which are made out of cheap material anyway. Especially in the United States, the houses are all junk, basically. They make them out of cheap material. If you go to Europe, the houses are made out of brick and stone, and they last. Anyway, that's another thing. But anyway, And then we offer paper plates, plastic, styrofoam. People used to offer silver and gold plates. Ladies used to wear golden bangles and so many other decorative things. Now we have plastic. So there's no real advancement, even if you look at it from a material point of view. So just because you have a big house doesn't mean you're advanced. So this Western civilization has artificially given this idea that we are advanced, but the actual advancement is to take up spiritual life and to worship the Lord by chanting his holy name and manifesting his form and worshiping. And therefore, one of Prabhupada's most successful parts of his mission was to establish temples all around the world with beautiful and very nicely arranged worship of Radha Krishna deities, deities of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, Gaur Nitai, and Lord Nrsingadev in some cases. And so Prabhupada showed what is the opulence of the Vedic culture through the mood of worship and the importance of worshiping the Lord in these different forms. So if you can do a comparative, you'll find that our movement has more temples around the world than any other movement. Of course, there are many churches that may be more in number, but many of the churches are closed and they come once a week, and some custodian comes and dusts the altar and then they close it again. So a lot of the churches are just not even functionable. But you can see what Srila Prabhupada has established, and the worship is going on now. Nicely, temples are opening everywhere. Somadadri, get off the line. And so, yeah, one has to understand things in its perspective according to how it's understood. And therefore, there is no opulence in today's world. And you see, as time goes on, we have paper money, which is sometimes even made out of plastic now in some cases. They have plastic coating on the money in the UK, and so the money has become actually junk. It's not some cheap piece of paper. The coins, even when I was a kid, the coins were made out of silver, and the actual alloy of the particular metal, now they just put copper and they put some cement in there also. So now even the coins are made out of junk. And so the society is going to hell because it's controlled by demons, that's all. But that's another thing. Anyway, here we see the importance of worshiping the Lord in his deity form. And the ladies were very respectable. A woman is respectable by nature, but Western society has destroyed that respectability and turned the women class into a work class, and at the same time a class for men to exploit in different ways and for sense gratification in the forms of using women for advertising and various types of other programs in order to attract people. So, but Vedic culture, the women would not even mix with the men. They were dressed nicely, they were elegant, they were respectable. It says that even sometimes the sun would not even see the Lord. The ladies would remain within the confines of the palaces. They would come out on festive occasions, but they would always remain separate from the men class. And that allows respectability proper etiquette, behavior, and avoids exploitation. And at the same time allows for people to focus nicely on the activities that is being performed. I'm seeing now in our temples in ISKCON, and that's being lost now. People are mixing, men and women are sitting together in the same areas now. Not all the temples, but in some, it's happening like that. And they consider that to be progress. Progress in the wrong direction, you might say. So yeah, when in Vedic culture, even in the schools, the girls would sit on one side and boys on the other side, or many times there were girls' schools and boys' schools. Yeah. So the mixing of the sexes is simply a demoniac program in order to facilitate sense gratification. That's all. And to demean the women class. Prabhupada used to say that women's liberation was a creation by man to facilitate more opportunities to exploit women. It was not created by the women themselves, created by the men in order to break the bonds of chastity, civility, and shyness, which is the great qualities of the women. And therefore, it says that all men should see all women except their wife as mother. The term Mataji or mother was used to address women, and that was considered very respectable because the Vedic culture teaches, and of course we also have some understanding, that our mother is a very important part of our life, and we give our mother all respects because she brought us into the world and she helped us to grow up and she took care of us, and she's a nurturing aspect of life. And so women are worshipable in that mood as mother, and therefore the word Mataji is a term of respect and honor. Nowadays it's Bohemian G or whatever else they have. So the society has become hellish because it's controlled and organized by demons. And so everything is topsy-turvy. But even decent people accept all of these changes as being progress. But where is the progress? If you look at it, there are so many unwanted children being born. Abortions are increasing tremendously. Various types of other difficulties that come upon the women class because of the social arrangements. So this is all part of the progress of demoniac culture, which goes in the name of Western culture. Okay, so yeah, my point is that we should look to the Vedic culture for civility, understanding, and practice, and to try to recreate that within our society as devotees. And by doing that, we establish the principle of worship and proper behavior, which is the quality and character of an advanced civilization. Now, that's just one deficiency in our present day civilization, the exploitation and the misuse of the women class. Anyway, but the women can somehow or other take the Krishna consciousness and somehow become free from all of this. If they remain fixed in their Krishna consciousness, and follow the principles as given by the Shastras and by the Acharyas and Krishna himself for the proper arrangement of the social environment, for the progress, for the material upliftment, and for the spiritual progress of the living beings. Okay, now we'll stop there.
Dear Guru Maharaj, we are so grateful to you for this explanation of all the various points in this purport, beginning with deity worship and also telling us about present day civilization and how Vedic culture is required to actually bring real civilization. Dear devotees, I'm sure many questions have come up in your mind, or you have some comments or realizations to share. If you would like to do that at this point, please go ahead. Or if you prefer to write down your question or comment, I will be happy to read it out for you. So I don't see any hands raised as of now. Maybe everyone is thinking. Okay, Namrata ji, please go ahead.
Take this and wash it and dry it.
Namrata, you're on mute. We cannot hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hare Krishna, please my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. My question is, when we practice our devotional life seriously, we see there is a lot of difference in the lifestyle of a devotee and the non-practitioners. Although that is an ideal life we are supposed to live, we are seen as odd man out, which really hinders us from passing our spiritual message to them. So should we not try to preach such people who is seeing like that, or we should tolerate their indifference?
Let's see. What is the difficulty that is being expressed in your question?
Okay, when we practice our devotional life seriously, our lifestyle varies a lot with non-practitioners or say non-devotees. So when we try to preach them, it creates a hindrance in passing our message to them.
I'm missing some of the.
Maybe because of.
Namrata, your voice is breaking up. Would you permit me to repeat your question?
Okay, I'll change my network and come back again. Can you please take one question by that time?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dear Guru Maharaj, if you like, you can repeat her question while she's trying to come back on. Is that all right?
Yeah.
She says, when we are seriously practicing Krishna consciousness, our lifestyle is very different from those who are not practicing Krishna consciousness or those who are not devotees. In such a case, should we preach to those who are not so favorable or not practicing our lifestyle? Should we try to preach to them?
Generally, it says that one should deliver the message to those who are receptive and avoid those who are not receptive. So when we do a general program, people come from different, and we speak. But when you're doing one-on-one, then if people are not receptive, why waste time? Go to those that are more receptive. You're just wasting time with people who are not interested or adverse to what you have to say. It's either argumentation or wasting time. So we look for those who they want to hear, they want to learn. And there's a lot of them out there.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. You'll find it's just more natural to give it to people who want it as opposed to those who very outwardly make the message that they're not interested or they want to criticize. You avoid that.
Is that satisfactory, Namrata, or do you have any follow-up question?
No, thank you. That's satisfactory. I got the answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice question. Guru Maharaj. Yes?
I have another question, but if there's nobody is raising their hand, then I'll ask.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Other question is, so because women are exploited in many ways, which has been with them for a long period of time. So even today, government they keep agendas of women empowerment, and they try to get votes. So what is your opinion on that? Should there be such kind of practices?
Well, having women in political positions?
No, they keep agendas as women empowerment. They use this kind of agendas in government to get votes. So,
If you want to empower women, just make them Krishna conscious. This other thing is some kind of stupid program that just sounds nice, but it has no meaning. They'll say anything to get votes or do something, make up a new slogan. What is that one slogan they made? Something. Some about women being important. Everyone's important because everyone's a soul. The body is external. So a devotee sees everyone Vidyayavada Sampane Brahmani Gavi Hastini Suni Chaiva Supake Chapanditat Samadarshana. So one respects everyone accordingly because each person is part and parcel of Krishna, and they're given respect in that sense, along with their social position. But their society is all screwed up. They do everything wrong, and then they're trying to correct it by doing something else wrong. They make a policy which is exploitive, and then they try to find a solution to the exploitation by continuing the exploitation in another way. That's all. If you want to empower people according to who they are, bring them to spiritual life. That's the purpose of life. We're not trying to make somebody an expert materialist. What is the value of that?
thank you, Guru Maharaj. Krishna.
So important to understand this point. Thank you for elaborating on this, Guru Maharaj, because there is so much going on in the world of women's empowerment, etc. Shilpesh Prabhu, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, this is a bit off topic, but I just wanted to ask, on your WhatsApp group, there was a posting that you would like to receive monthly emails from devotees. Would I be able to email you, Maharaj, or is this more for people who are sort of officially aspiring?
No, yeah, everybody, yeah, people write to me all the time. But we set up a system for those who are devotees to make a report of their activities in Krishna consciousness once a month. But yeah, aside from that, people can write.
Okay, maybe Sri Devi Mataji, you can send me Maharaj's email and I'll write to Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Certainly, I can do that. I'll do
Thank you.
that. Thank you.
My new email, not the old one.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I will send you that.
Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for this opportunity, Maharaj. Really do appreciate it.
Okay.
Maharaj, may I ask a question about deity worship? The Archa Vigraha form of the Lord is a form that Krishna in his mercy gives to us to worship, because we cannot see him with our present eyes. So therefore he gives a form that is worshipable and is non-different from him. But how do we really start developing our relationship with the deity of the Lord? How do we really connect to the Lord in that way and become fixed in deity worship?
When you do service for the Lord. So serve that deity by serving if it's a deity in a temple, then do service for that temple. So everything is done, the relationship is based on service.
Thank you, Maharaj. Revati, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you for this very nice class. I have a question about deity worship. You mentioned, Guru Maharaj, like Vigraha and Lagra, like way you wait around the neck. So if I understand, like if you're not chanting properly, the deity worship is more like a burdensome, right? We mentioned, Guru Maharaj, right?
That's Prabhupada's statement, Galagraha. He said Galagraha means burden around the neck. He said, yeah, so he said you must chant your rounds every day.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, yeah. And also daily worship. So first we have to chant, then we have to get the deities, Guru Maharaj. Like we have to perfect our chanting, so that we can engage in a deity worship. Is that?
No, it goes on simultaneously. You wait to perfect your chanting, you may not get the deity worship at all. So you have to do both at the same time. Now, Prabhupada was making the point that, we push our chanting aside and we just engage in other activities, and then those activities become a burden, especially deity worship.
Mhm.
You can hear the class. I think it was in Mayapur. It was a verse from the 8th chapter of 1st canto, Prayers on Queen Kunti. I think it was 1974. I think the date was September 29th, 1974. Prabhupada spoke that class.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, I'll search for it and I will send. Yeah, Thank you. So everything centers around chanting, Guru Maharaj. If we chant, all other 8 processes will be done easily. Yeah.
Naturally, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Guru Maharaj, I'm just asking a follow-up question from Revati's question. So that means if I am putting up big programs, organizing big events, but I am not chanting properly, I'm not doing my morning sadhana properly, I will not be able to sustain that. Is that correct?
Well, the service will become like work rather than a joyful expression of one's devotion. It'll be more like a chore or something we got to do. That'll happen in due course of time, not immediately, because the conditioned soul in the material world has a tendency to fruitive activities. And that fruitive activities manifests itself in the activities of devotional service. That we think that we're making advancement simply by getting the job done. But that's an expression that is part of the whole process. The process is purification of the heart. And that's where Shravanam Kirtanam comes in. That's why sadhana is the foundation for service. Sadhana leads to service, service leads to sadhya, which is the goal. So it's a one package. You don't try to separate it. But when you build a house, you have to create the foundation, and the foundation is our hearing and chanting.
So if sadhana, if the morning program is being neglected and I'm not really chanting my rounds properly, but I am interested in putting up big programs and getting big donors and putting up a big festival and things like that, I will be able to pull it off for some time, but I won't be able to sustain it in the long run. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Revati, please go ahead.
Sorry, I haven't forgot to lower my hand. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, I think we reached the hour. So we can stop here. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear Guru Maharaj. Our humble obeisances to you. Thank you for your mercy to all of us. Hare Krishna.
Glory to
Thank
Srila
you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you all, dear devotees,
Thank you.
for being
Thank you,
here.
Mataji. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you,
It would
Mataji.
be really nice if more people come up with questions, comments, their own realizations, just to enliven Guru Maharaj and make it interesting and informative and educational and purifying for all of us. That's just my humble request to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, please stop recording and live, Mataji. Sridevi Mataji, yeah, please stop recording and live also.